the 2020 ACC Cross Country Championship. We get you into other runners to watch. Already talked Yared Nuguse for Notre Dame. Keep your eye on the two from University of Virginia, Rohann Asfaw, along with Wes Porter, JP Trojan from Syracuse, Paul Stafford from Florida State, already a win. The individual championship earlier this season. Bistritz from NC State and Jack Tiernan for the men's 8K. Partly cloudy here in Cary, 58 degrees. Perfect running weather, spotted clouds in the blue sky. No spectators at this 2020 ACC Cross Country Championships due to COVID-19 restrictions. Mentioned third time. Championship has been contested at the WakeMed Soccer Park course. First event was held back in 2009. The NC State men won, Florida State women claiming the team titles. Syracuse men and the NC State women as team winners in 2016 as the runners are off. Beautiful look at the full pack coming towards in this men's 8K race. Preseason coaches poll picked as follows: Notre Dame, Syracuse, Virginia, NC State, Wake Forest, the top five as seen by the coaches. Ran you through some of those runners to watch. Individual champs, JP Trojan from Syracuse won the duel against Army in the battle in Beantown, an 8K in which he ran 24:41. Rohann Asfaw from Virginia, three individual champs, the Virginia Invite, NC State Wolfpack Invite, and the Virginia Panorama Farms Invite. Best time coming at the Wolfpack Invite, 23:32.5. See, curving their way through this beautiful wooded track. Runners in the red portion of the map, you see the start on the right-hand side. The mile markers across this WakeMed Soccer Park course. It's like a couple runners from Pitt up front, Notre Dame to the right. Plenty of early curvature. Just past the 3-minute mark. Lone Duke bib spotted in there. Not much separation here early on. You see the splits coming in from the 1.1K mark. Team-wise, Notre Dame, Florida State, Pitt, Syracuse, Duke, the top 5. Zach Lefevre up front from Pitt. CJ Ambrosio from Duke. Mark Megalazzi from Pitt. So the 2 Pitt runners you see there. Even 3 minutes at the 1.1K mark. Rounding out the top 10 team-wise, Virginia Tech, NC State, Virginia, Wake Forest, and Georgia Tech. Nuguse from Notre Dame, 7th place, the 1.1K mark. Just 1 second behind. You see him the 3rd from the right in the green top. Bib number 166 for the senior. You see team-wise domination from Syracuse. Lone title sprinkled in for Notre Dame 2 years ago. Syracuse, led by head coach Brian Bell, seeking their 6th title in 7 years. Runners working their way up a slight incline. It was an even 3 minutes through the 1.1, and as we approach the 6 minutes, wait, the 2.1K splits coming in for this 8K race to determine both an individual champ and a team champion. Front of the pack dominated by Notre Dame green tops. There's the 2.1K split, and it is all dominated by Notre Dame up top. 5 runners: Dylan Jacobs, Nuguse, Matthew Carmody, Kevin Salvano, and Henry Chapman from Notre Dame. Running a strong race. Team-wise, Notre Dame well ahead. Team splits at the 2.1K mark. Notre Dame at 15 points, Syracuse 109, NC State 115, Florida State 128, Pitt 146, 1 through 5. See the rest of the field trail through. Runners now going along the blue line at the top of the map. See hitting that curved part just past the 3K marker. Mentioned Syracuse champions last year, went on to a 27th place finish at the NCAA's. Notre Dame, 8th place at the NCAA championship. Overall, NC State has claimed the ACC crown 16 times. Maryland, former members 11, North Carolina 9, Clemson 7, Duke 7, and Syracuse 6. Notre Dame looking strong here early on, seeking their second team title. Lone team to break the run from Syracuse from 2013 on. Nuguse on the right side of your screen. USA Track and Field Cross Country Coaches Association NCAA two-time D1 National Athlete of the Week. Rohann Asfaw in there as well, as Nuguse tripped up a little bit. So we will step aside, take a brief break, bring you back the men's 8K ACC championships here in Cary, North Carolina. You see Dylan Jacobs left side of the frame. Yared Nuguse for Notre Dame. Up front. It's just past 11 minutes on the race clock. So approaching the halfway mark. Nuguse, the senior from Louisville, Kentucky. It's the 3.8K split. 11 minutes, 20 seconds. Jacobs and Nuguse, both at that time. CJ Ambrosio from Duke in there as well. 7 different runners crossing at that 11-20 split for the 3.8K mark. Team-wise, still Notre Dame dominating up top, though the gap has closed. NC State following up in second place, the team that has the most championships. Rounding out top 5 team-wise, Syracuse in 3rd, Wake Forest 4th, Florida State in 5th. Still very tightly grouped up front. 25 runners plus within 3 seconds. That lead time of Jacobs, Nuguse, Ambrosio, Kilrea, Methner. 4 of those 5 from Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish seek their second title in the last 3 years, last one in 2018. Last year's championship held at Virginia Tech. Runners now on that start-finish stretch, but the green portion going up, so making a loop around. Splits at the 4.8K mark coming in, and it's Jonathan Velasco you see in the Wake Forest top, along with Yared Nuguse. The two runners starting to break away. Times of 14 minutes 25 seconds at the 4.8K split mark. There are the two as Velasco looks strong. Team-wise, Notre Dame, NC State, Syracuse, Wake Forest, Virginia, 1 through 5 at the 4.8K split. Dylan Jacobs, 3 seconds behind at that mark. Sophomore from Notre Dame. Rohann Asfaw pushing up as well, was in fourth, 14:29, but two runners with some clear distance between themselves and the rest of the pack, and Velasco and Nuguse. You see plenty of undulation on this Wake Med Soccer Park course. Jack Tiernan that we showed you for Wake Forest is one of the runners to watch earlier, but his teammate in Velasco running the solid race up front. Left side of the frame, along with Nuguse, who seems to be catching his strength as the runners go uphill. Nuguse into the lead, looking very strong. Teammate Jacobs passing up Velasco to join him. Runners on the left portion of the map. The last half lap of the race. See, we'll wind through that bottom portion and then up the yellow portion of the finish. Approaching the 6.5K split mark. Teammates Dylan Jacobs and Yared Nuguse. Ian Shanklin from NC State.
Okay.
In at third, as the splits at the 6.5K mark, 19:27 for both Nuguse and Jacobs. Shanklin just a second behind, and Asfaw from Virginia at 19:29. Velasco dropping down to 7th. Team-wise, Notre Dame in first, Syracuse second. Fighting Irish still with a quartet of runners, Nuguse, Jacobs, Methner, and Kilrea in the top 10. Top 5 finishers in those spots that will be put together to determine that overall team score. Now Shanklin looking strong. Senior from NC State pushing Nuguse. On the left, Goose on the right. It was Peter Sufer from Virginia Tech, winner of the individual title the last 2 years. Both of these competitors seeking their first individual ACC crown. Is clearly ahead of the rest of the pack. After this, we'll have the women's championship run at the 6K distance. Yared Nuguse trying to pace himself to an individual crown and his team to a team title, their second in 3 years. As the runners approaching the finish line, and Nuguse with a strong finishing kick. The end in sight. Pulled well ahead of Shanklin.
What do we do?
As across the finish line, Yared Nuguse is the individual champion, a time of 23:03.6. There is your new title holder individually. Will it be enough, along with his teammates, to take the team title? It will be Notre Dame champions. It became tighter. NC State team-wise, finishing second. Top 5 runners in: Nuguse, Shanklin, Jacobs, Asfaw, and Coughlin. Notre Dame, NC State, Notre Dame, Virginia, and Wake Forest, respectively. As Notre Dame huddles up, Second title in the last 3 years. Paced by their senior, Yared Nuguse. Still waiting the remainder of the runners to come in to round out the top 5 team-wise. But it was Shanklin from NC State and Yared Nuguse that pulled ahead. Front 2 runners clearly ahead of the rest of the pack, but Yared Nuguse with the strong finishing kick throughout the whole race really looked to not be uncomfortable whatsoever. So the championship has been determined. Individually, Yared Nuguse for Notre Dame and his team winning collectively as well on the men's side. So the 2020 Men's ACC Cross Country Championship in the books at the 8K distance. Yared Nuguse, the individual champion. Shanklin from NC State in second. It was Notre Dame that was strong. 5 finishers in the top 18 individually. Dylan Jacobs included in that. At third, Asfaw from Virginia. Fourth, and Coughlin from Wake Forest rounding out the individual top 5s. The team top 5, Notre Dame with 41 points, NC State 77. Syracuse in third at 102, tight with them in Wake Forest, who finished fourth at 104. And Virginia rounding out the top 5. Still 1 runner to finish up. It's Thomas Betters, the freshman from Miami. Is this the overall points and team standing? So Notre Dame, they break the run from Syracuse. They had done it once before in 2018. Led by their senior, Yared Nuguse. You saw plenty of runners out of breath, winded, and Nuguse looked strong through and through. His team can celebrate as he can, the individual and team champs.